the British GT Championship comes from Britain's most exciting and dynamic new racetrack, Rockingham Motor Speedway, aka The Rock. And as it's got a bit of a Yank flavor to it like me, Darren thought I'm the guy to tell you what it's all about.
Built from scratch, Rockingham boasts 52,000 seats, all of them with a view of every inch of the tarmac. No doubt about it, this circuit was designed for one thing, and that's to bring some days of thunder to British race fans.
Cool, especially around turn 4. We're exiting turn 4 at just over 150 miles an hour, and boy, it feels quick coming around there.
Very exciting. It's you know, the other thing with Daytona, you've got like 28, 30 degrees banking. We've got about, I think about 7 or 9 degrees here, but you do get the same sensation.
Flat out in 6th gear, but just occasionally, if it's a little bit damp, you need to lift just off the throttle because that wall's mighty close when you're coming out of the exit.
That's awesome. You know, this is just a great facility here. It's my first time to this circuit and enjoying every minute of it.
Turn 4 is something else because we're hitting, I don't know, 140 miles an hour in the middle of the bend there. You can feel your neck in there.
We're the closest we've been, and we've been knocking on the door of the win for a while, so let's hope it comes this weekend.
Turn 4, that's the one they've all been talking about. Flat out on the way in, they build speed up all the way through. Of course, they've got the banking to help them to go faster and faster. Solid concrete wall on the way out makes turn 4 very, very difficult and very, very challenging. Then they have the big and very impressive grandstand greeting them on the right-hand side as they come onto the main straight. They're building up to 160 miles an hour. They might just get a chance to glance at their pit board on the left-hand side before they're thinking about turn number 1. They're at 160 miles an hour. They've got to take about 60 miles an hour off the car and go through a very tight and very demanding chicane at 100 miles an hour. So they've got a change in elevation here, and also the camber of the circuit makes it very, very difficult. You'll see them aggressively all over the curbs here, on the left, on the right, trying to get their way through here. If they're too aggressive, they could go into the wall. Now, this is just 2 corners on the super speedway. They've got another 12 that are going to greet them and challenge them on the rest of the track.
Well, Lister are on the comeback trail. They've closed the gap to just 6 points over the leading Celine, so things are quite tight in GT. Not so much in GTO. Martin Short and Simon Pullen still have a little bit of a gap over Tim Sugden and the Ferrari. We look at the grid here as they come round for the start of round number 8 of the British GT Championship. The Celine in pole position, and it was a good qualifying performance by the TVR because Michael Caine had a very big shunt in pre-practice. He actually put that TVR into the wall at something like 100 miles an hour. The boys got that car together. Michael Caine went out and did a good qualifying lap to stick that car on the front row. We see the other Celine just on the outside of row number 2, and we see the Lister as we go green here at round number 8. It is to Celine, and the TVR just running a little bit wide. Remember, they miss out the chicane here on the start of this lap. Callum Lucky sliding through. Is he going to get by that second Celine? Yes, he is. A great start by the Velox Ferrari. And he gets up the inside of Simon Pullen also. Then we see the Jones Porsche just locking up there. And that was a fantastic start by Callum Lucky. He's now fending off Simon Pullen, who's starting in the TVR. It looked like he was a little bit tardy at the start, Callum Lucky, but boy, did he take advantage of a bit of a gap up the inside of that hairpin. Will Hoy, an aggressive start by that Ferrari.
Of course, it's a very light, nimble car. Yes, you're right, he did have a tardy start, but he used the momentum to get up down the inside into that very tight left turn. Here we see a replay of the start. There's a TVR of Rob Bath stalling on the line. And you remember when we saw the start that he was back on the front row, and that is not allowed under the rules of racing. Basically, if you've missed your start, then you will be penalized if you take your grid position on the front row in this case.
Yeah, well pointed out. Well, that is exactly what's going to happen. We saw Rob Barth at the start, as you point that out, and now he is very likely, I think, is need to have perhaps a stop-go penalty for getting his way back into the start of the race, because there he is right now in position, and he only got that position because he took that start position again.
Yeah, it's a fundamental rule of motor racing. And there he is. He's taking that stop-go penalty now, so he's going to lose an awful lot of time. He's going to lose at least 30 seconds, I imagine.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, a big mistake from Rob Barth there. He stalled the car, but that wasn't the fundamental mistake. What it was getting his position back. That is a big advantage now for the number 7 car. And this is the GTO battle, and the leading Ferrari, Callum Lockie, goes around the outside of the chicane. He misses out there. The Jones Porsche gets through, Simon Pullen gets through, and Callum Lockie goes to take the position back. But I think Will Hoy, he's not allowed to run around the outside there, so he let them through, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. That's a rule of racing. Obviously, he was going to could have taken advantage of the fact that he missed out that chicane. He missed his braking point totally. But having allowed 2 cars get in front of him, he then dived down the inside and got 1 place back.
Well, it shows Callum Lockie is thinking. Like you say, he made a driver error, but he had to make a quick decision there and say, I cannot take advantage of this. He's let Simon Pullen and the Porsche go through. He's managed to get the Porsche back. But this is bad news for him because he had a good start to this race. Got right into the lead of GTO, was 3rd overall, but now he's let through the championship leading car. He's got all that work to do again. He's got the Jones Porsche tucked right in behind him, and he's going to have a lot of work to get by Simon Pullen. As they go down to the tight Tarzan hairpin, we're on board with the Lister here. That is the Lister of Dave Warnock. It's just getting up the inside of the Porsche. So he gets another position back. He's on his charge to the front of the field now, getting past some of these GTO cars. We take a look at them going into the fast right-hander coming up here, Brook Corner. Now, I've accused Dave Warnock of being a little slow at the start before Will Hoy, but really, right now, he's behind some GTO cars. What do you say?
Well, yeah, he's a steady starter. I mean, he's not that slow. Obviously, he's got a quick car and he doesn't hang about, but he makes it hard work for himself because the first 2 or 3 laps he has to get through the GTO traffic, and here we see him doing it. So he does lose valuable time, there's no doubt about it, but once he gets up to speed, then he's as quick as anybody.
Yeah, couldn't agree with you more. And now we see this is a stop-go penalty for the number 55 car of Simon Pullen. He is coming into the pits because at the start of the race, off camera, he actually gained advantage before they went across the start-finish line. Even though it's a rolling start, you cannot get ahead of the person that you were next to on the grid. That's the information that we have. He's come in for a stop-go penalty, so that is bad news for their championship, good news for the Ferrari. And right now, here we have Steve Brady. Always enjoyable to get a look at Steve Brady and his Ultima. He drives all these races on his own. He's tucked in behind David Jones in the number 77 Porsche. Just ahead, the car he wants to get on terms with is that lady tries to have a move just up the inside at Kirby there. And again, it's a GT car, Will Hoy, which is battling with the GTO, but again, smaller team. They don't have the funds that some of the front-running GTO teams have. And Steve Brady does a good job in there on his own.
Yeah, he knows what the challenge is. It's to get the car home. Obviously, he's unlikely to win the race, but he wants to make a good account of himself. Said, keep the car in one piece and get it home.
Yeah, well, it's a hot day today, and it's tough in that car. I know Steve Brady, again, it's an hour-long race. He does come in for a pit stop where he has to get out of the car and back in, but it's still demanding on him. Here we take a look. Now, I think we've seen there that Lee Caroline making his debut in GT, and another Ultima having a good race today. I think he's been over the cones pretty aggressively at the chicane, Will Hoy.
Yeah, that's not an aerodynamic device that's picked up, as you said, through one of the chicanes. But here we see, this is turn 4 of this wonderful oval circuit, which the Indy cars, of course, are cracking up to about 220 miles an hour. And here we are seeing this great battle for the GTO class lead.
Callum Lockie is doing a good job, but tucked right in behind him now on a very aggressive charge right now is Tom Herridge. Now he's standing in for Jeff Lister, who had a very nasty shunt in the number 8 Celine last time out at Castle Coombe. He's stepping in now and partnering Nathan Kinch. Oh, and he's just going to go around the outside. Is Callum Lockie going to let him? Yes, remember, that's a battle for position, but both of those drivers are battling to lead and win their class. So Tom Herridge doing a good job starting with this in this car. He's going to hand over to Nathan Kinch. Nathan Kinch, I remind you, drove with Jeff Lister last time out. Jeff Lister making a good comeback from injury at Castle Coombe. Right now, Tom Herridge is doing a good job in the nice new livery on the number 8 Graham Nash Celine, but ahead of him right now, doing an even better job, is Lee Caroline. Anybody who watches TVR Tuscan Racing will know Lee Caroline really throws one of those things around. Talented young driver, looking to make his move into GT racing, making his debut this weekend, and right now doing a fantastic job in that Ultima. Well, it's all action at Rockingham. Join us right after this for more. Welcome back to Rockingham Motor Speedway. We're looking at Lee Caroline in the number 5 Ultima. He's just ahead of Tom Harridge. A great battle here in GT. Tom Harridge is going to try and put a move, just going up into the inside of the hairpin. Yes, he does. Lee Caroline gives him the room. He can see, I suppose, that the car's a little bit quicker. He's going to tuck right in behind him. Still got that piece of curbing that he's taken with him. And again, good to see these two young drivers really having a good charge here, Will.
Yeah, it's a difficult overtaking point as well because you're coming off the oval and then you go onto a flat bit of the circuit and he gets the car all squirmy. So it's a brave place to overtake, but he got away with it. It was a very clean move.
Oh, that is the Lister of Dave Warnock, which is spinning well. Well, I don't know what's going on there, but it's obviously a disaster for Dave Warnock. He's losing all kinds of places here, losing all kinds of time. Will, it looked like he locked up the back wheels, and normally the braking is mostly to the front in these cars. Some kind of problem with his brakes, perhaps.
Yes, his brake balance could be out, of course, or he could be having fading brakes, but alternatively, it could be a gearbox problem, possibly snatching a gear as he braked for that very tight hairpin. That hairpin, of course, very important to get a good exit speed because it leads you onto the banking, which is the fastest part of the circuit.
Yeah, well, here we see Simon Pullen getting past the 52 Lotus of Robert Ross. Well, they're having a good move, and Robert Ross had a good go back at him, but now we'll see the big difference in straight line speed in these two cars. Quite equal through the corners, and here the TVR just starts to pull away. Matt Johnson and Robert Ross, they do so well in that 52 car, but again, they struggle in straight line speed. Will, here it is again.
Here we see Warnock, just the car, just literally swapping ends. He jumps on the brakes there, and lucky to end up on some tarmac so he can get a quick recovery back onto the circuit. But here we see on board, there, the car just swaps ends. So it's just like he's got some sort of mechanical problem. And if you listen to that, he's just got no traction at all. So it's like possibly he has got some gearbox problem.
Yeah, I think he's got some kind of mechanical problem, absolutely. And here we see, this is Steve O'Rourke trying to fend off Simon Pullen. This is a battle at the front of the championship in GTO. Now, Simon Pullen should get by here. He's quicker generally in the TVR than Steve O'Rourke. Yes, he is. Now, remember, when we do the driver changes later, that car's going to be driven by Martin Short. The Porsche behind it is going to be driven by Tim Sugden. And that's when we see some great battles. And, well, definitely a mechanical problem here for Dave Warnock. We saw him going off earlier, going very slowly. Great win for them at Castle Coombe, and it's all going wrong here at Rockingham.
Yeah, it's a great shame. But there, the TVR, look, another of those marker posts stuck in an air intake. They really are being collected like tokens around this circuit.
Yeah, they do tend to get all over those, and this is Lawrence Pierce here talking to Mike Jordan, trying to explain, I would imagine, what Dave Warnock is saying over the radio, and whatever he's saying is not going to be very good news at all. Yeah, the guys love to go aggressively over the curb, especially down there at the chicane in turn number 1. Now, this is great news for Graham Nash and for the number 7 car right there, which is leading this race. And their main contenders in the championship are going out. Now here, Ian McKellar driving this race first. Normally, every round of the championship, Tommy Erdos has driven it first. Ian McKellar is driving first today because he is driving injured, Will. And he's got some kind of problem with a hip injury, a recurring hip injury. He's been in a very bad way, hardly been able to drive the car all weekend. But now he's driving it for just the minimum 20 minutes. He's going to hand over to Tommy Erdos, who's going to do a second stint. The number 51 Harman Kardon car coming in here. John Hartshorn is going to hand over to Piers Johnson. We saw a look there at Ben McLaughlin, just with his back to us there in the red overalls, who's going to take over the number 66 TVR from Shane Lynch. So here we are. This is our race leader coming down pit road. Beautiful wide racetrack, beautiful wide pit lane here at Rockingham. It really is a fantastic facility. Here we are. John Hartshorn already out of the car. Piers Johnson jumping into that machine now. And this is the Infiniti number 57. We saw Steve O'Rourke a little bit earlier. Tim Sugden's taking over, but coming around the outside, this is great news for that number 8 machine. The Selene is going to take the lead of this race. These two young drivers, Tom Harridge, who had a great charge in his first stint, he's going to hand over to Nathan Kintz, but not just yet. Remember, they can go a little bit longer if they want to. 20 minutes is the minimum they can run with the first driver. Most of the cars you've seen there are doing about the minimum. The TVR comes in. Michael Caine's going to take that over. Now, this is a slightly more difficult pit stop now, Will.
That's because Tommy Otis is a lot smaller than Ian McKellar. Normally, the smaller driver would start, and it's very easy to pull the seat insert out, which is specially molded to fit the driver. And but this time, they've got to put it into the seat, the main seat, before Tommy Otis gets in. So it just takes that much longer.
Here we see the 69 Eclipse TVR coming in. Shane Lynch jumping out, and Ben McLaughlin going to jump in and do his normal, very, very good job. Another talented young driver here in the world of GT. Oh, and that's the number 19 Marcos, which is getting into more troubles, it seems, stuck on the outside of the track. Tommy Erdos on board, second driver, Will.
Yeah, a bit of a challenge being a second driver rather than starting as Tommy normally does, because he's getting into a hot car, the brake pedal could be a bit long, the track conditions are different, and he's got to read the race situation as well, so it is a different challenge, and he squeezes round the outside there of Jones's Porsche, actually squeezes him a bit too much, makes the Porsche just jink to the right there to avoid hitting the Celine.
We opted, obviously, because my leg ain't very good today, so we opted to just use me at the beginning for the first 20 minutes, and it played into our hands. It was good, but pit stop was quite good. It was a bit hard for Tommy getting in because he has to have an insert, because he's obviously a lot shorter than me, but no, it worked good, it was okay.
Well, here's another new driver pairing. That's Mike Newton, normally associated with Graham Nash's team. As a matter of fact, he's one of the owners of the Celine machines, and he's getting yanked out there.
Like a sack of potato.
Absolutely, and Neil Cunningham jumping in there, super sub. He's going to really fly in that stealth. Hopefully we'll see some action from that. Number 8 Celine right now, though, is leading this race. And Neil Cunningham goes out into racing competition. I know he's been dying to get his hands on that stealth car, really try and get on terms with the Celines. We've seen Nigel Greensall earlier this year when he gets into that car, really flying in it. Neil Cunningham capable of doing the same thing. The Eurotech number 77 Porsche comes in. Our race-leading car comes in. Tom Harridge has done a great stint. Nathan Kinch is really getting on terms with that machine too, and look for him to put in a great stint also. Well, Tommy Erdos is going to get ahead of the number 8 Celine. We see it just going here, out onto the pit straight. Coming through here, the number 8 Celine is sat in pit lane. Nathan Kinch is going to be pulling out in a moment. Tommy Erdos goes second position right now. Leading this race is the Ultima of Lee Caroline, yet to pit. But that is a great performance by him. But this race is going to be about these two Celines. When the lap times, we've seen the lap times, Celine's running much quicker than the Ultima, but a great run there by Lee Caroline. Now we see a change here. Robert Ross jumping out, Matt Johnson jumping in there. And look forward to Matt Johnson putting in a normal stirring drive. And right in behind us there, the number 5 Ultima of Lee Caroline coming in. He is going to be handing over the lead of this race to Tommy Erdos. And right now we can talk to GTO leader Callum Lockie.
The Ferrari's lacking a wee bit of straight line speed, I think power in the lower range. But I elected to start in third rather than the second to third change. And I went backwards off the line by about 4 places, and I thought, well, that wasn't so great. But then I thought, we'll keep it flat round the outside of the banking in the first corner, and I overtook a couple there, and it was all a bit loose and wobbly. And then a gap appeared in the traffic, so I swapped to the inside and just closed my eyes and hammered the brakes on and went right down the inside of about 4 cars and ended up third overall.
Fingers crossed, bring it home for your win.
I hope there is a motor racing god. I'm sure there is.
Well, oh, and this is the TVR. Michael Caine has spun off there. Will Hoy, again, these guys just can't buy a break right now. They were qualified well, but more problems.
Yeah, maybe he just got on the power too quickly, but there was a bit of bodywork there from another car, so whether that interrupted his flow out of the Gretton hairpin, I don't know, but it's possible. But he's now lost quite a few valuable seconds.
Yeah, he sure has, and this is the 69 TVR, the Eclipse car coming in, shaking that back and forth. Shane Lynch not looking very happy at all. Reports back is that the engine is cutting out, so it could be fuel, it could be electrical, but a shame. Remember, these guys crossed the finishing line first at Knockhill, had that win taken away from them, and it doesn't look like they're having much luck today. Driver who is having luck, the team that are having luck is them right there. That's the number 7 Celine. They're going on, and oh, the number 19 Marcos yet again in some kind of problem here. Brian Colwell was thinking about not actually driving in this race, Will. He was struggling to get on terms with this track, hardly had any time in this car. He elected to jump into the race, doing as well as he can, but having a few problems. So far, it seemed not coming into contact with anybody else.
But it might well have been that his bodywork, which was lying, I think, on the exit of the hairpin, but clearly struggling with some sort of handling problem on that car.
Here we are, a battle with 2 Ultimas. This is Steve Brady still driving the race on his own, trying to fend off now the number 5 Ultima of Colin Lower. And again, the number 19 here, Brian Colwell, just seemed to lose his brakes there. I don't know, emptying the ashtray out or something, but he's having some kind of problem here as he gets that car back into racing competition.
Yeah, I guess what happened there was the door somehow came open. It just put him off as he went into that corner, and he just lost his line.
Well, this is the battle for GTO. Remember, leading right now is the number 88 Velox Ferrari. This man right here, though, is leading the championship, and right in behind him is his nemesis, you might say, Tim Sugden, who is really, when he gets in that Porsche, he flies. We come down to the Tarzan hairpin here. Two very, very good racing drivers. Oh, and Martin Short makes a bit of a mistake there around Tarzan. Just locks it up. Is he going to get the inside? Oh, no, he doesn't. Will, very close stuff.
Yeah, but that just shows the pressure that Martin Short is under now. He can see that Porsche looming large in his mirrors, and there's nothing better than to put the pressure on the driver in front of you, make him make a mistake, and then take the opportunity. For example, he nearly made it up the inside there, but just didn't have quite enough speed to make it
again at the hairpin. Yes, you're right. Seems to close down on him on the tight corners. We know the cars close up anyway, but there at Gretton, coming out onto the straight now. Who's got the better exit? Who's got the faster car? Look, very, very evenly matched. There's been literally hundreds of thousands of seconds separating these two guys in qualifying, but this is all about power along here now. This is where they get onto the brakes, down a couple of gears from about 160 down to 100 miles an hour. It looks like he's got a good run on him. He's going to go around the outside. I can't believe Martin Short will let him run around the outside. Tim Sugden passed him around the outside of the last race, and he's done it again. A great move by the MK Porsche there around the outside of Martin Short. Will, that was good move.
What he did there was hang back as he went into the chicane. He knew he had more speed, and that by hanging back, he was able to slingshot out of the chicane and carry that extra speed, which made all the difference and made that overtaking move work.
Well, Martin Short will not be happy having Tim Sugden come by him again, but he's thinking about the championship. But right now, that driver, Tim Sugden, is easing his way up the leaderboard in the championship. Ahead, remember, is the Ferrari. And ahead of the race overall, Tommy Erdos about to take another victory. Driving second today, Ian McKellar put in a great first stint. Much fitter than we thought he was going to be. Pulled out a good lead, and Tommy Erdos has just stroked it home here, doing his normal professional job, but chucked right in behind him. A tremendous formation finish here for the Graham Nash Motorsport team, and look at this. Real Le Mans style stuff. A 1-2 for Celine, well deserved. 7-car home first. Number 8, Tom Harridge and Nathan Kinch come home in second place. And that is a great victory for them. But I tell you what, these boys deserve victory. The number 88 Velox Ferrari, Sam Lee, the owner of that team, and all the boys are going to be absolutely made up. Now, this is the last race for their crew chief, Steve Hager. And I know that these guys are going to be so pleased if they can just get across the line. And a fantastic job. They are absolutely made up. Very popular victory. Well, it's the Celine in number 1 position, the Celine in number 2, and a great third place overall for that Ferrari. And a stirring drive by the Lockie and Davis driver pairing. They really put in a great performance to get that third spot.
We had a concern with Ian. He wasn't feeling very well in the beginning of the meeting. He had a back injury. And he was very brave to get in the car and do his stint, and he did superbly well. And gave me a great car to finish the race. The car was fantastic. And it's a great result for the team, with Nathan and Tom finishing second. Couldn't ask for more.
Well, Ian McKellar and Tommy Erdos extend their championship lead. Dave Warnock and Mike Jordan didn't finish. Not good for them at all. Neither was it for Michael Caine and Rob Barth, yet again in the wars.
It's absolutely brilliant. I couldn't be more happy really for the Velox team. I mean, the guys have put in so much work during this season. Callum made a great start to the race. Managed to get the car in a good position. We made an excellent pit stop as well, and then I went out and just pushed for a couple of laps, really. I saw what the gap was on the pit board, and then I just basically backed it off and kept it nice and comfortable. And, we've got the victory this weekend in class, and it couldn't be any better, really.
Tears of joy for all of the Velox crew on the pit wall, and look at them just creeping up there. Still 30 points in it, but Sugden, Lockie, and Davis are going to challenge the Short and Pullen combination, no doubt about it.
After Lister's win at Castle Combe, it's situation normal in GT, a dominant 1-2 from Celine. Darren will see you next time at a very different track, the Woodland Course of Alton Park.
Next Saturday morning at 7 o'clock, it's Formula 3 on 4. Up next this morning, the power is on the water in the HHFS Powerboating Championship.